Hi, welcome to Talk About here on Shaw TV North Island again. We have another interesting show. The guest is Ruth McMonagle. Ruth, thanks for coming in.
Hi, John. Thank you for having me.
I suspect a lot of people watching know who you are, but some may not. You're very active in arts and culture. But tell us about how long have you been in Campbell River?
We came here in 1981, and my primary drive for at that time was raising my young kids, supporting my husband. And
Trevor's a teacher?
He was a teacher. Yeah. He's now retired to a different life. And there's not much else to know.
Well, you opened Stillwater Books. When did you do that?
Stillwater Books and Art was opened in the early 21st century. And we had a wonderful, wonderful run at that. Yeah. 3+ years, and met thousands of wonderful people. Yeah. And it was just the most fulfilling work we've ever done. We could talk about books and art, which we both loved, and it was a financial success. Yeah. But the time came to move on from that.
There was a rental issue, I think, or a lease or something.
Well, our lease was up, and we didn't want to commit for 5 years. Yeah. And we had some ideas about where we could go using Stillwater Books and Art as a base. Yeah. So Trevor has moved on into copy editing and started a new business with copy editing. Yeah. We still sell books around town at festivals and that sort of thing.
And you got online, I think.
Yep. Yeah. And then also, I have a great interest in art. Yeah. And so I'm moving on as an artist representative. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Now, you didn't mention Words on the Water, but you did that for what, 12 or 13 years?
It's actually 15 years altogether.
15 years.
It was, we were in Seychelles at their festival, and Trevor looked around and said, you know, it took us 8 hours to get here, all these ferries, gee, I wish we could do one in Campbell River. And so I said, well, let's. And he said, oh, can you imagine the amount of work? Yeah. So then we started talking to people, and a year later we established our committee. Once we'd thought through the potential, talked to people, you know, it's always good to get advice from other people, established the committee, and that following year began our first festival. And thanks to everyone, especially the, you know, people like Alistair and Neil who supported us, and
those are newspaper editors.
Okay, and the wonderful committee who brought intelligence and drive and commitment and believing. Yeah. And so actually it was our 14th festival this year. Yeah,
but I wanted to get to that. The first one you didn't do, and how did it go?
The first one we did was at
No, the first one you didn't do. This one. Yeah, how did this year go?
Oh, it was wonderful. Paul and Angel Murphy are heading up the committee now. And they're wonderful, wonderful people. And so are all the rest of the committee members. But many of the members were Trevor's students. Oh. Are gone away, gotten lots of education. Our leaders in hotel management and accounting and education themselves have come back to the community and are making a really huge, significant contribution. Yeah. You know, they have all these generalizations about people of various ages. And I think people like that couple and some of the other people who are on there, Rebecca Berry and those sorts of people, they break the mold. Yeah,
it was sold out, I gather, eh?
100%.
Yeah, which is something. You know, one of the reasons I wanted to do this show was that, you know, Campbell River has a reputation as the salmon fishing capital of the world.
Yes, it does.
And its history is heavy into logging and other, you know, resources. And yet you look around, you know, Courtenay has the reputation as the arts town, but Campbell River per capita, I think probably has more arts and culture.
I would believe that to be true.
And so why?
Well, I think there are lots of reasons why Campbell River is a wonderful arts community. Of course, the natural world around us is important, but I think there are other things too. I think that we've attracted a lot of people who've come to Campbell River with arts background, arts interest. And they've found groups here. Yeah. There's a lot of people in the arts. Yeah. Huge.
Do you think Haig Brown was kind of a beginner, or were there people before him?
Haig Brown is our most famous writer. Yeah. And he and his wife, through their education and their legal and various other community things, did help stimulate the growth of thoughtful art. Can I read a definition of culture?
You gotta be quick.
And you'll see, okay. Believe it or not, the first definition is the cultivation or development of the mind. Oh, refinement of mind and artistic intellectual development. Of course, that's a Haig Brown heritage, right? The artistic and intellectual side of civilization. Now, some people think culture is like just what a group is.
Well, everything has culture. Whether or not it's high, I think, is the issue.
Well, here we got a neat definition, okay? It is a society or a group, a culture is a society or group characterized by its distinctive customs. We could talk salmon fishing or
Yeah.
forestry, but also its achievements, its products, and its outlook.
Yeah.
So it all works together. And I think
Yeah.
Ico, who is our maybe up and coming artist of the this decade for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a one-name person?
Ico Jones.
Oh, okay.
Okay, he's a great photographer. He does commercial art. He also does art, and he's about to publish a book. He's well known, and he's got some of Bateman's skills. So I think he's going to be the Robert Bateman. He's got the
Yeah.
literal representative
Yeah.
nature with symbolism, relates to the ecology of the area. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's
Yeah.
very sophisticated.
And he's one of your clients in the new art representation business?
No, I'm pushing
not?
him because I
Oh.
believe in him.
Okay.
He's
Good.
already got an art agent down island.
Oh,
So, but what I believe is that if one person community does well, we all do, particularly in the arts.
yeah. Who are your clients now?
Ken Blackburn,
Yeah, Ken Blackburn of the Arts Council,
that's right,
and we've had him on the show several times. He's a great guest.
tremendous person.
Yeah.
Jill Paris-Rody,
Okay. She a
And-
painter?
she is a painter. She started out at Calico and Cross Stitch, for those of you who are new to Campbell River, that's not there anymore, as a decorative
Yeah.
art painter. Wrote a book, traveled all over the States to seminars, and then switched to her true love, which is fine arts. And I have a sample of her
Okay.
current work here.
Good. And Heather Hewson, is that?
And Heather
yeah.
Hewson. Now, Heather is a remarkable person. She is involved in the administration of the Campbell River Arts Council, and as such, she has a bird's eye view of what's going on.
Yeah.
But she also has this personal expression, which is fresh and very interesting. And every time I see her work, I see new development.
Yeah.
So we've purchased one for our house. It's a
Oh,
lovely
nice.
one we've brought, and I look at it every day, and she contributes to my sense of well-being.
Yeah. You know, the sense of well-being is a good thing, and the Arts Council has a lot of programs. Well, maybe not a lot, but they've got programs that are bringing young people, and especially kids and challenged people,
Yeah.
and behaving in an artistic way seems to improve the personality overall.
Oh, I think so. And the other thing about the arts is one of its great benefits is it teaches people to be relational and to be participatory in their culture and in their lives.
Mhm.
And that, of course, feeds a sense of well-being.
Yeah.
And that's super. And so culture in our community means caring.
Yeah.
As you probably know, that's one of the
Oh,
characteristics.
Yeah,
This
I-
is the
s-
best
s-
community
I'm
in the
gonna
world
take
for
some of your
caring.
time. I was watching the hockey last night as we were taping, and it was Canucks for Kids night. And Trevor Linden said, "What it means to be to be a BCer is caring for each other." And you know, that's a hockey guy, but I
Nothing
think
wrong
it's
with
bang
that.
on.
Oh, bang on for sure.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
great. Anyway, this is a great segue to a new event you've got. Well, River City Arts Fest. It's third year now,
I believe it'll be our fourth year.
fourth year.
We've just now become a society, but up till that point it was primarily spearheaded by Impressions and Chris at Impressions. And I'll just show you how marvelous it is. We commission a local artist and pay them, which is what artists need to do, which is make a living, and use them on our poster. This is an older poster, but the date, the sponsoring
This
groups.
year's July 25.
It is, yes, and we're hoping to, well, last year I think we had around 140 exhibitors. And
Yeah.
this year we're hoping to have an enhanced program, including a wine and cheese in the evening,
Lovely.
a professionally judged group of works will be part of the wine and
Oh,
cheese
really?
evening.
And the arts is for sale?
All art is always, almost always for sale,
Even
for
million-dollar
sure.
collector's items?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Sure.
you'll see a lot coming up in the next little while, perhaps
Okay.
online with gocampbellriver.com
Okay.
or through the newspapers or through posters.
Yeah,
So come on out, save a few pennies for a few starving artists.
yeah, yeah. Now, getting back to Campbell River as a culture community, it wasn't long ago I went to the River City Players Theater for the first time, and that's where you had Ken Blackburn unveil his new showing, and we have some photos. I will maybe try and stitch them into the show. But that's an amazing facility. Now, the Tidemark is a big theater, at least for North Island. But this River City Players Theater is very nice too. So what's the history on that? Or you're involved in it to some way?
Only as a profoundly committed supporter.
Yeah.
What happened was, when I first met Linda von Zuben, who is one of its directors or the president, she was telling me at the store, at my store, Stillwater Books and Art, about this opportunity to support local theater. And we are really, really appreciative of local theater.
Yeah.
So I got to know her a little bit and said, yeah, we're going to get involved and that sort of thing. And then lo and behold, the facility they were renting at 1080 Hemlock was donated to them by the lady who owned it. So then they could take this fabulous warehouse-style building and they could turn it into an intimate, beautifully appointed private theater. Yeah. And it represents the work of the River City Players.
Yeah. Well, it's really, with the elevated seats,
it's fabulous.
But they've got good lighting and they got a little bar and I think it's wonderful. I
think what I would say about that particular theater is that it's intimate.
Yeah.
Because having about 80 to 100 people in there, you are very close to the stage. In fact, you can sit about a foot away from it.
Did you say 180?
Up 180 to 100.
Yes, because I did the crowd count on Ken's event, and it was people were sitting in extra chairs, and it was over 100.
Yeah, it's terrific, and that was a terrifically supportive experience for Ken. I think he had a lot to give. I'd just like to talk about sort of a new way of doing art in presentation. You know, the old way was maybe a few wealthy people with their little drink tottering around looking important, being a drama of their own while the artist's work was displayed. But I think that's gone by the boards. And I think that what we did, or what Ken was able to do, putting spoken word art, and then the visual art, and then participatory programming.
The interactive afterwards.
Absolutely, come right up on, talk, become involved in the meaning of the art. Yeah. So this is, I hope it's going to be a standard. We also had music, so that was wonderful too.
It was brilliant, really. I guess it was maybe 2 years ago now. Ken did a show at the art gallery where it was a performance art kind of a thing.
Terrific.
And like he deliberately sort of stomped out without taking any comments from me. And maybe he was mad because I was taking photos in the dark.
I don't know, I doubt it.
I asked him about it afterwards. But this time, like, he made that as part of the event. So when you walked in, there was a guy playing, was it a fiddle or a violin?
It was a violin. And he's actually also in busks downtown.
Okay.
And
well,
I just want to tell you about that because that's part of art too. He does that not because he's poverty-stricken, but because he leads a small symphony with younger players. Oh. And the money that you throw in his pot goes to buying sheet music.
Oh, nice.
Now, I'm thinking maybe our government should give education a little bit higher profile and support the arts in education. Yeah. But there's a man who's doing something about it.
Actually, that's a good opportunity to jump to the economic impacts of art, the role of art. You did some research about Nanaimo?
I sure did.
Put your glasses on and read the fine print here.
Okay, I have a Nanaimo Arts and Culture Economic Impact Study here. And there's a couple things that are absolutely wonderful.
Nanaimo, of course, is not known as a high art town. But
any more than Campbell River has been up till right now, when we're really moving ahead.
This is our new golden age.
This is our renaissance of sorts, you know, our coming to bear. Okay. All we need is the economic backing, and we're going to go. But
that's the point. I'm going to jump in. But, sure. If you invest it, it grows.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I just want to say that for Nanaimo in 2012, the impact of the economic impact of the arts was phenomenal. $94 million, okay? The equivalent to $55 million worth of contributions to the provincial GDP, 885 jobs created, $7 million in tax revenue to all levels of government. So I think that what we see is that this is not just something that perhaps you dabble in when you retire down at the community center or at the Sybil Andrews House. This is a dynamic sector. And can I just tell you what's in the sector?
Yeah, we got 29 minutes to fill.
Oh, 29 minutes.
We're halfway through.
We're halfway through. Okay, I just think it's helpful if we understand what the arts and culture segment actually is in our culture. And it involves probably 9 areas. and one that you're involved in, which is radio and TV broadcasting. And I'm going to take a minute just to say thank you, John, for your contribution.
Oh, thanks. I've been thanking everybody that comes on for their contribution. What I do is minor. It's fun.
It may be fun, but it's also part of us, and we really
Yes.
appreciate it. Of course, there's arts instruction and education. Newspaper, periodical, book and directory publishers, and software publishers. Wow, that's a big field.
Yeah.
Okay, performing arts companies. And of course, we have the River City Players, we have Shoreline Musical, we have Anne Young's This Weekend Dinner Theater at,
Yeah.
and you probably have a note for it there.
No.
At the Willow Point Hall, there's going to be Our Town by Thornton Wilder. If you haven't seen it, you're not an
Yeah.
educated, enlivened person.
Excuse me, another jump in. Willow Point Hall is going to be the subject of a show coming up
Ooh,
on Talk About.
terrific.
Yes, they've got some news.
Okay, so there's all kinds of performing arts
Yeah.
going on in Campbell River.
There's also Island Phoenix a cappella.
Yes, isn't that fabulous?
I don't know much about it.
It's a school of art. We talked about, I mentioned art instruction and education for young people. Heather Gordon is one of the directors of it.
Oh.
She has long roots in our community,
Yeah.
and she had a ballet school. She's very theatrical.
Yeah.
She's totally competent in almost any field of
Yeah,
artistic endeavor.
Yeah.
And she has with her a musician, and then they teach the kids, or participants, I should say,
Yeah.
the skills involved
Yeah,
in theatrical production.
What's the correct pronunciation of, is it a cappella or a cappella?
A cappella.
A cappella, okay.
A cappella means
You
not
learned
with
something
instrument. No, okay, so that's singing that is not
Without music.
without an
With a-
instrumental backup
yes,
usually.
pardon me.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
'cause
okay.
singing is music.
Yeah. Well, I also want to mention a lot of choirs and music in our community.
Yeah.
You know, if you're at the Spirit Square, you're down there, and Jim has
Yeah.
brought wonderful people in. Jim
Yeah.
is our
Yeah.
person who organizes.
Jim Creighton.
Absolutely. But you see, we have River City singers too.
Yeah.
We have Island Voices. We have a fantastic children's choir. We have
Yeah.
local groups doing drumming.
Yeah.
We have a high input of a grassroots level of
Yeah.
music in our community.
And I'll do a shout out to the Music Plant store. Very good little, for a small town, 35,000. That's a great store. And they also offer local music, which CDs of local musicians at the Music Plant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Quinny. We hope it stays open, and we're worried it won't.
Well, it's an institution, is it
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
it is an
but-
institution.
Yeah, live music.
Sure.
Anyway, the economics of art. This is an opportunity for me to do another editorial on job creation. I've been pushing in various circles in a quiet way the idea not just high-tech job creation, engineers, but the society really needs low-tech jobs, low-skilled jobs for a lot of people that just are fallen out of the workforce. And as you were talking about the Nanaimo thing, it occurred to me, like, art is the same way. Now, I don't know if we want to go so far as to give honorariums for artists just to be artists. But, it might be interesting as a case study somewhere to do that and see, okay, do it in Campbell River but not Nanaimo, and then compare the difference 3 years later.
Well, I think that the goal for every community would be a living wage for their artists.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's feasible because we have really high-end artists. We have
Yeah.
local artists who are not substantially financially supported.
yeah,
But there is something about strong companies investing their wealth and their acquisition of status in the community, and also
Yeah.
just their financial assets, bringing some of that back to the community in terms of supports in the
Yeah.
art. That's what caused the Renaissance
Yeah.
in Italy. Florence, Italy, and was only possible because
Yeah.
of the
yeah.
support of money.
This isn't on my list of questions, but recently we saw art introduced into the hospital. Even though the
Yes.
hospital is being torn down, they still put it in. And it's making a positive difference for not only the patients, but also the staff and the visitors. Now, I'm sure if you walk down a hallway 40 times a day, after a while, you're going to get tired of that darn mule. But still, it makes the point that, if a successful mid-sized company was to invest in a bit of art, and maybe if we could starting to maybe tax credits for this kind of stuff.
That's a great
But
idea.
you know, getting more people feeling good about their own productivity, even if they don't make a lot of money out of it, there's an awful lot here. We used to have a cameraman here who's got,
Yes.
frankly, a unique type of art. And
Computer-generated imagery.
yeah, okay.
Know him well. He's good.
Yeah, and my dad used to do art too. I've got his stuff, and
But it's not a
it's
low
really a broad area.
Yeah, but just to talk about your low skill area, art is not necessarily a low skill. In fact, it's a lifetime thing that people
absolutely.
go through. So
Yeah.
it's a highly developed skill. It may not, at the moment, register in a high level income, but it's not necessarily low skill.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that clarification. But it's a kind of thing that you can do without training. You can be self-taught.
You can, but we're working really hard, and maybe down the road there will be a private art school here. That's one of the ideas. And I'm not allowed to say too much about all these dreams and hopes,
Yes.
but that's a possibility. But can I interject about this?
The new art magazine?
The new art magazine.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so what we have here is the VI, Vancouver Island Compass. This is a new art magazine that's coming out.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
okay.
All right, I'll
Oh,
pass
it's
that on
got
to you.
advertising in it?
Yes.
Oh, how can it be artistic if it's got ads in it?
That's my point about the relationship between economic well-being and artistic well-being. What we have here is a new art magazine that is coming out, to be published here in Campbell River, and it's going to go the full length of the island. And I'll just give you a heads up about marketing strategy and why I think it will work.
Yeah.
This is going to be sent to companies,
Oh,
dentists, people who have
Waiting
beautiful
rooms.
magazines in their waiting rooms. We want something that promotes art
Yeah.
in everybody's waiting room.
Huh.
We want people to pick it up and say, oh my goodness, look at, here's a Jill Paris Rhodey, or here's somebody else. Look at that. Did you see that? Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
And the same reason it's successful in hospitals,
Yeah.
it will be successful in your business.
Yeah.
That's the line.
Dan Tolosky's art comes to mind.
Very wonderful.
Yeah.
Very wonderful.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
the
Bi-monthly starting in April. Is it going to be out in April? Maybe May?
she's done the interviews and the money's coming in. This is a way that Campbell River can support local artists. This will feature artists not just from Campbell River, but the first artist being featured will be from Campbell River. And buy a subscription. After 3 months or so, there'll be subscriptions available with limited signed edition prints.
Wow.
So there's a vacuum that this will fill,
Yeah.
and it's going to happen here.
Yeah.
So as
But
I was
that's an
saying,
island magazine
An
published
island
in Campbell River.
that'll be exciting, brand
Yeah.
new, terrific idea.
Yeah.
So just watch; it'll be around after
Yeah.
the 3 month subscriptions will be available.
Yeah.
Um, So this is neat. Can I tell you something else that's exciting?
Certainly.
All right. I don't know if anybody knows or noticed, but when you got your,
What's on Digest?
that's right, there's Ken on the
Ken
front.
on the cover.
And on the inside, it's got something about words on the water.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Kathy
It all-
Cardall and Brian published this.
Visual arts tour map.
Ah.
So you don't know what to do on a Saturday? Here are all the places. See, there's
Yeah.
a map right here that you could just pop in and take a little look at art.
That's like the garden tour in the summer.
Yeah, but it's going to be all summer. And
Wow.
at the end, at the bottom, there will be what's on for that month
Wow.
in the artistic community. This is just the beginning, but we're hoping to promote art in a beautiful way. I don't know what the government is going to do in terms of promotion, but you know, little people can make a huge
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Well, that's wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
you sure got your finger on a lot of stuff.
I'm just so thrilled to be here,
Yeah.
part of
yeah,
it, you know.
Yeah. Let's, well, okay, 5 minutes. We'll get this in. The Courier Islander
Yeah.
is got, as we're recording, about 60 days left. What kind of an impact is its closure going to have on the community in terms of arts and culture?
Well, all I can say is that Neil has made a, that's the current editor,
Yeah. Neil Cameron, who
yeah.
was on the show with his book.
has made a significant contribution to Campbell River, both personally and through his professional work.
Yeah.
And really and truly, if it were not for the support of the newspapers, Words on the Water would not have gotten off the ground.
Yeah.
And I can say that with a deeply appreciative heart.
Yeah.
And also, he has encouraged the strength of Campbell River, which has been its salmon fishing publicity and people who relate well to the natural world because that, not only just his book, his regular contribution.
Jeremy Maynard, the fishing columnist, what a tremendous contribution he makes.
Yeah, I think we need to understand that these people are not, when the word goes out, it's from one keyboard to many, many minds and hearts, and so they've been very significant. I have no idea what it will mean ultimately, because I'm not in the prophetic role, but I do think that they've done really well in contributing, and that's
I was going to say that I won't miss Ray Griggs' climate ranting columns, but I didn't say that. So
you didn't say that.
No,
okay.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
So what more is needed?
Well, I would really think that people could take to heart 2 or 3 things from this discussion. And the first thing that they could take to heart was that there is a place in Campbell River for everyone to participate in the arts, whether it's drama, as you pointed out, or music. Whatever skill you've got, bring it to the fore. The community will be richer for your contribution. I think the second thing we can do is really support our artists who are visible artists. That means getting out to that dinner theater or picking up a paintbrush and going down and saying, "Oh, I love your work, here's my $300, There are other ways to support too. They can volunteer at the Tidemark Theatre. They can work in this new film industry that's coming up.
Or order your book through Coho Books, the last independent bookstore in town.
Well, let's just say that books still have life.
Yeah.
So
okay, we won't go there.
We won't go there. No,
but I made a list. Since Stillwater closed, I thought, oh well, that's the last bookstore in town. No, there's Coho, but there's also Save-On, Walmart, and Superstore all have book sections, and in particular, the museum has a very good collection of BC books, local books.
They do. Yeah. And one of the things that's a challenge for established bookstores is that we also have the Rotary book sale, and we also have the museum books that sell thousands and thousands of books.
Yes.
And also, I just want to mention the used bookstores, which is Mum's Book Bin. Yes, and Heidi, and there's one in Willow Point called Willow Point Books, and they do active businesses.
Thank you for correcting my omission.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to do. I just meant to say books are still available in the big way here.
I don't know if we got 30 seconds left, but is the carving, the Shoreline Arts carving?
Yeah, it's
an
art form.
Art?
It's beautiful art. Let's go for it. It puts together our roots in the logging industry.
Yeah.
And artistic production.
Yeah, taking logs with chainsaws and making beautiful pieces of art. I think it's great. But it's not traditional art. So people think, But anyway, I'm hoping to have them on as a guest too. So
let me throw something nasty in. So is graffiti an art form.
Huh.
And we need to have room for our young artists in our community who express themselves artistically. We need to have a space for them.
Well, we'll put up a wall, not in Campbellton, thank you, and they can do it. Anyway, Ruth, thank you very much for coming in. It's been fascinating. We could probably go for another hour if we worked at it. But so that's Talk About here on Shaw TV North Island. We thank you for viewing. If you want to view the show again, Shaw TV North Island has a YouTube channel, and you can find it there. Also, my website, crnv.com, has a list of the shows that you can just click on. And the last 2 or 3 I haven't posted yet, but they'll be there soon too. So let us know. You can reach me, by the way, through that website as well. And thank you, volunteers. Thank you, Shaw, for putting on Talk About here on Shaw TV.